Going ahead, screen fields. Screen fields are nothing but the fields that you see on each and every page or every form. Okay, so here these are all the fields. Okay, now you can move each field from from one section to another. Okay, and you can also define which are the fields that needs to be shown. Okay, so here you will get the list of, under the screen fields you see that there are all the subtabs available similar to field groups. Okay, and under that you can define which are the fields that needs to be shown. Okay, so under main you could see that these are the fields which are shown. So for example, custom form. So the first field is the custom form. Okay, now whether you want to show that or not, if I uncheck this and save it, this field will no more be shown on the purchase order form. Okay, similarly, whether that field should be mandatory or not, by default it is mandatory, but for say supplier, in case if you want that to be mandatory, you can check that. Similarly, what should be the display type, whether it should be normal, inline or disabled. Normal means the user will be able to edit that particular field. Okay, inline you will be able to see but you will not be able to edit it, but you will be able to edit it via script. In case if you disable it, you will not be able to edit it via script or by on the UI. Okay, similarly, in case if it is a checkbox, what should be the default, whether it should be checked or unchecked. So for example, if I go here, this particular, if this particular field is shown, whether that should be checked or unchecked. Okay, it will show that. Apart from that, description, but in case if you want to change the label of that as well, so these custom forms should be known as any other field, you can change the label here. Okay, and apart from that, you can define the field group, right? You have defined the field group under main as primary, classification and intercompany. So what should be the field group for each and every field that you have? Depending on that, it will show under these field groups. Okay, so for example, if I scroll down here, you can see that there is currency, which doesn't have any field group defined. Okay, so it doesn't have any field group defined. So if I come here, you could see that there is currency, but it is lying and it is not under any field group. Okay, so for example, if I want this particular currency field to be under main group, I can just go there and I want that to be under primary information. Okay, so I've done that. So what will happen is it will come under these primary information. And if I save this, I'll also make that as a preferred form. So if I save this and if I refresh, you will see that this particular currency field will not show anymore here. It will now show under the primary information. Okay, so if I refresh this, okay, so now it is showing under primary information. Is that fine?
Yes.
So I'll customize the form again. So similarly, you can do it for all other fields that you would like to. Okay. Just delete the other forms that I don't need. Okay, so coming back, you can also see various other subtabs as well. So under items, you have exchange rate. In case if you want to show the discount reason and other field as well, you can just check those. Okay. So under items, if I come here, you can see that there is only exchange rate that is showing up here. Okay, because the checkbox is only checked for exchange rate. Okay, similarly under shipping, you will see all shipping related fields here. Okay, similarly for other subtabs. Okay, now going to actions. I have used these actions somewhere. Do you remember where I used it? Do you remember where I used it? Any answers? Yes, no?
No, remember.
Okay. So if I go to this particular form, I'd used these actions, right? So do you remember now where I have used this? So whenever I showed you a GL impact for a particular transaction, I showed it from here, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So here it defines what should be shown under actions. Okay, whether it should be shown as a menu or it should be shown as a button. Some of the actions are shown in the edit mode, some of the actions are shown in the save mode. Okay, so currently the memorize and go to register are shown under edit mode. If I save this and go to actions, it will show me GL impact and all other actions. So these defines what are the actions that you need to show and whether it should be displayed as a button or it should be displayed as a menu. Okay, so whether you want to show these actions or not, it is defined here, and whether it should be shown as a button or a menu can be defined here. Whether, for example, for this delete, you want to have a button, you can just make it as a button and you will be able to see a delete button in the save mode. Okay, you don't need to go to actions and delete it accordingly. Okay, similarly sublist defines the column fields or the columns. Okay, so under sublist you have these items and under items you have these expenses and items, right? So if I go to this purchase order, under sublist, under items, I have expenses and items. Okay, accordingly it shows the expenses and items. Okay, in case if I don't want to show that as an expense, I can give it any other label as well. Now I am not able to remove those. Okay, because these are mandatory. I cannot remove the expenses and items. In the accounting preferences as well, we had checked that checkbox, right? Whether you want the expenses on the purchase order. That's the reason it's showing the expenses, or else it would have only shown items. Okay. Similarly, under relationships, it will show me the contacts. So if I come here under relationships, it will show me the contacts. Okay. Similarly, communication will have messages, activities. In case if I want to show the events and task calls as well, it will show that accordingly. So if I go to communication here, you can see all these things, right? Events, tasks, phone calls, files. It is dependent on these particular things. Okay. Similarly for related records and so on and so forth. Are we clear till now? Okay, so you can create a custom subtab. I'll show you that.
Okay.
Okay, as of now, just you can say emphasize currently on the customization of the forms. Okay, we'll complete this and then I'll show you that.
Okay.
Okay. Similarly, sublist fields. Okay, sublist fields means the fields that are shown here. Okay, so under items, what are the column fields that you would like to see? Okay, it defines that. So item, received, available, average, and all other fields. So after items, you have received, then you have quantity, units, and all other stuff. So here you can see items, quantity, units, and all other fields. Okay, so this defines which are the column fields that you need to show. Okay, and what should be the label for it. Okay, going ahead, in case if you're using scripting, then you can add some custom code to it. This is technical stuff. Apart from that, which are the roles that should be able to see this particular form? Generally, we don't do it on these particular forms. We do it on the roles itself. So whenever I'll be going to the roles tomorrow, I'll show you how you can define a particular, or how you can give the access of a particular form to a role. So generally we don't do it here. So this is provided by NetSuite, but we generally don't use it here. We do use it on the roles itself. Apart from that, linked forms. Okay, so each and every form, you can say, after purchase order, what do you create? You create a item receipt. After item receipt, you create a bill, and after bill, you create a bill payment. So you can link various custom forms. So for example, when I create a bill from a purchase order, okay, so when I save this, you will see the bill button, right? So if I click on bill, the bill page will open up, right? So when I open that bill page, which should be the, or what should be the custom form that should be used for the bill? So you can link various custom forms to various linked transactions. Okay, any questions?
No problem. No problem.
Okay, so this is how you can customize a particular transaction form. In the similar fashion, you can customize a particular entry form as well. Entry form is generally used for
Eight.
entities such as customer, vendor, and all other stuff. So here you have entity. So here you can, if you want to customize a particular, say, customer form, you can customize it. So if I click on customize, you can just go ahead and click on customize, and the new form will open up. It is similar to the transaction forms as well. Only the thing is, it will not have any sublist and sublist fields. Okay, because a customer form will not have any line items. Okay, or an entry form will not have those things. But apart from that, the thing remains the same. The way in which you customize a particular transaction form, in the similar fashion, you can customize a entry form as well. Okay, is that fine?
Mhm.
Okay, so here you can see that you have subtabs, field groups, fields. So instead of sublist and sublist fields, you have fields only. You do have sublist, but it is generally the ones. So for example, if I open it here, so for example, under billing, or maybe under sorry, communication, you have all these sublist. Okay, so similar to that, those customer forms can also have those sublists. Okay, so under communication, you can see that there are various sublists. Okay, so in case if you want to have those, you can define those. Okay, now coming back to your earlier question, how can I have the sublist here in case if I want to? Okay, so in that case, what you'll have to do is you will have to define a sublist first. You can create a sublist. Okay, and once you create those, added under communications. Okay, it can be added under communications or any other subtab that you would like to. Okay, so for creating a sublist, you need to go to customization, forms, and here you can define the sublist. Okay, so here you can define a sublist, but for that sublist, you will have to create one save search first. Okay, a search, what you should show under that particular sublist. Okay, so for example, under transactions, you would like to show journal. Similarly, in case if you want to show anything, you can create a sublist. Okay, so I'll just see if I can use any standard one. Okay, so let's see if we can have this. So we'll have test transaction. You can define the tab as well. So for example, I want that to be under communication. So if I define that, and if I want that on the purchase, I can check that and I can click on save. So accordingly, it will show me on the purchase. It will show me under communication tab for purchase transaction. Okay, so if I come here, if I refresh this, so I'll customize the form again. I'll go to sublist under communication. So it should have shown me here. So I'll just see why it's not showing, because it's on the save of that particular thing. But I'll go back there and see if I can add that. Okay, so whenever I'll just open one of the saved purchase order, so it should show me there. Because this is in the edit mode, that's the reason it's not showing up there. Or it will only show if there are any results in that particular search. Okay, so at least you have got the concept, right? How you can add a sublist here. You can just create a sublist and it will show up accordingly. So I'll just select the form that I have created. Okay, I'll save this now. Okay, so once this particular purchase order is saved, in case if there are any results in that particular save search, it will show me under the communication tab. let's save that. Let that purchase order get saved first. Okay, I'll go to communication tab. So here you can see that we have this test transactions, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, any queries? So the first thing here is you create the sublist, and on the sublist means the thing here is first you have to create a save search. That save search then can be selected on this sublist, and accordingly it will show you on that particular subtab that you have selected. Okay.
Okay.
Similarly, you can also customize a particular address form. Address form is nothing but the address that you select on the customer, vendors, employees, and all other entities, right? So if you want to customize a particular address form, you can just click on customize standard form. In case if you want to edit a particular already edited form, you can just click on edit. So in case if I want to customize a particular address form, I can click on customize for standard form. So it is also similar. It also shows, or it just defines what are the fields that you would like to show: country, attention, addressee, and all other stuff. What should be the label, and whether you want to show that field or not. Similarly, depending on that fields, it will define what should be or what should be shown under which particular line, and that's it. And whether it should be applicable to only a particular specific country. In case if you want to use this particular form only for a specific country, you can just click on it and you can select the countries for which you would like to have this address form. So whenever you select that country, these form will show up automatically. Okay. Any questions, any queries? Okay, so this is how you can customize a particular transaction form. In this similar fashion, you can customize a particular entry form. Entry form is nothing but for entities such as customer, vendors, items, employees, and all other stuff. Similarly, in case if you want to customize a particular address form which is used on the customers, vendors, and employees, you can customize a address form as well. Similarly, if you want to add a sublist, first you will have to create a save search. Save search, how that can be created, we have a session for that. I'll show you how a save search can be created, and that save search can be selected on the sublist so that it will show up under the subtab that you have selected. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll go through the rules. So I'll let you know, I'll let you know what are the topics that are remaining. We have to go through roles customization. We have to go through reports and save searches. We have to go through CSV import. We have to go through workflows as well. So these are the 4 main topics that are remaining. Apart from that, in case if I remember that something is pending, I'll go through that as well. Okay, so but these are the 4 main topics that we need to go through. And apart from that, we'll also have one session maybe for accounting related stuff, some accounting transactions, and in brief, if required, I'll also show you the projects in brief, maybe in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so this is our schedule that is remaining. So we'll try to complete all these topics by end of this week. Okay.
Okay.